Okay, here we go. So this is so that NEFAB and Gulick and pre-built and everybody's on the same page. So what I've done is I've made this gauge up, and this gauge does cover the different sizes of the different tolerances that are done by Gulick. So what we have is we've got the maximum size that it can be, and then we've got the minimum size that we can be, and then we've got the optimum size for NEFAB to have a piece standing upright in their box. So with that gauge, you've got like a 3-tier system on the gauge. It's welded really solid, and I've got these gauges we can watch for. What we're going to do is this is already cut open, Elwood. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a stick, dropping it down, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be gauging the end of it, right, to make sure that it doesn't drop past the last mark, which is good. So if it drops past the last mark and there's slop, then it's too small. And we're also making sure that it doesn't exceed the maximum size. So the two sizes there are going to be the ones that are critical. So if you go like so, and then like so. Now here's a really good example here, I guess, right off the bat, right? Where that one's playing up and down right there, right on the smallest size. So that one actually is a reject, in that there is probably a 1/16 of an inch over spec on that. So that one there is unfortunately going to be rejected. That one's about 3.5 where it should be right there, right? And then if you go down here, it's actually the right size. Howard was talking about that. If I walk around to this end and take a look at this end, right, then we're just on spec for the smallest size there. It's snug, but there's no play, right? And then you're at the optimum size here for the 3.5. So that's what we're calling NEFAB's optimum height right there. So what we're going to do with this particular stick, right, is we're going to go ahead and use it because it's so close to spec, and it's actually just a little bit small. If it's a little bit small, the NEFAB can actually still fit it into the jig. So what we're going to do is we're going to determine that the best size on the stick, right, is that 3.5 width right there, okay, opposed to that really small sloppy width there, and then the 3.5 width here. It's a nice snug fit there on the 3.5. So this is going to become the top of what we cut. Thus, this is going to be the top of NEFAB's piece and the bottom of NEFAB's piece on this side. So basically it goes into the saw laying down like that, so that the 3.5 inch measurement here, right, is going to be the applicable measurement in the NEFAB part, right, with the stamp being on top. Now this height here, right, can range anywhere inside this gauge, and it'll still fit in NEFAB's jig. If it's over this size, if they're fatter than this size, right, then it will not fit in NEFAB's jig, and we will definitely reject the piece. So that is the system that I've got there, and I think what that's going to do is going to get you as close to 3.5, and a lot of these pieces, Jerry, are very, very close to 3.5 inches. Almost always on the one direction. See, there's a real fat one there. I'm having a hard time, you know, but it's there. It's inside tolerance as per the... But then if I take this way, almost sure as anything, every time, it's almost always very, very, very close to that 3.5 height. So the 3.5 height almost always exists on these pieces, right? And then this one's not too small. They're both just slightly... But both the measurements there are very, very close to 3.5. So that 3.5 height will always be applied into this saw sideways like this, and then stamped, as long as it fits this way inside the tolerances. So that should work really well, and this is the new system that we're going to implement. Thank you.